Kamara and Kendre Miller. Now, these are running backs going in polar opposite directions where Kamara is down 8.5 spots. So he went from 39 to 48 ADP. Kendre Miller up 8.8 spots. He went from 137.9 to 129.9. Steve, what do you think about this situation and how we're handling this Saints backfield?
Yeah, I mean, Kamara's he's definitely not the total player he used to be. Just 3.9 yards per carry last year, but still caught 75 balls. It was like the first couple of games he came back. Didn't he catch like 17 balls, fucking 15 balls? Derek Carr was just like, fucking, here, Kamara, just take over. Give me the ball. Kamara must have been just whispering in his ear the whole time he was getting ready. So, yeah, Kendre Miller, I've said it time and time again, it was just a disaster rookie season for him. He just could not stay healthy. Coming out of TCU, went all the way back towards the national championship game and kind of rolled into the season. So, what are they going to do with a new offensive coordinator? Pete Carmichael is finally gone after, 15 years being the OC there. So, is it going to be Kamara City, or is it going to be more of like Kendre Miller, a little bit more burst in the run game? Try to get that yards per carry up, because Kamara has kind of been – he's never – I guess since 2020 he's really dropped off. 2021, 3.7, 2022, 4.0. But still, he's going to be a thorn in Kendre Miller's side, but I still like going after Kendre. He could be like a Frank Gore type situation where he just kind of sits there for like another year or two before the young guy finally gets his full look. But yeah, I like going after Kendre Miller. I still believe in his talent, even though it was a disastrous rookie season. I liked him a lot coming out of TCU. He's a burner. He could break big runs. Hopefully he can stay healthy this year. And I'm not really going after Kamara too much. I'm going more Kendre Miller.
Yeah, Kamara is the same thing I talk about with Rachaad White, where NFL coaches don't care about fantasy football, right? Like, Kamara might have been good for fantasy football last year, but he was not good for the Saints last year. There's a reason that they're not going to give him an extension. Granted, his age is up there, but I just – he was inefficient. I don't even need to pull the numbers up because we've talked about it multiple times on the show, and I'm sure Anthony might do it. But I just, he was inefficient. He wasn't a good running back, and there's not really much else to say about Kamara. I think even running back 48, ADP of 48 is grossly high. I would think Kamara should be slotted somewhere down next to the Javonte Williams of the world, at that 90 to 100. I'm not in on his price at all. And he's dealt with injuries too. So given the injuries, the age, the contract situation, and just the inefficiency, I prefer Miller. If I'm going to take a shot on this group here, give me Miller at a much high discount here.
Yeah, I'm with you guys on Kendre Miller. And Alvin Kamara, yeah, you guys said it. He was never the greatest rusher, but since 2021, he's managed under 4 yards per carry. And fantasy-wise last year, RB11 and RB3 in fantasy points per game, the RB11 overall. It was all PPR. Now, if we go back to Alvin Kamara, let's tell the whole story. His rookie year to 2020, he was the first running back to ever catch 80-plus passes in 4 straight seasons. Since Peyton left, I believe, and since 2021, he had 47, 57, and last year 75. So we're banking on this guy to put up another 75-plus receptions to give us fantasy value. I think it's fool's gold. And if we look at the metrics, last year, Alvin Kamara had the second lowest yards per catch and yards per carry rate of his career. His age is showing. He's entering his age 29 season. This is a bad offense. And they have a good running back in Kendre Miller waiting behind him to where, can and will Alvin Kamara see the volume that he saw last year? We have to remember, Kendre Miller missed time due to injury, but when he came back, he looked the part. can Kendre Miller cut into Alvin Kamara's workload? Kamara last year was 10th in opportunity share. Does he see that again with the healthy Kendre Miller? I believe my answer is no there. So, yeah, I will gladly continue to fade Alvin Kamara just like I'm fading Austin Eckler. I think these guys have a lot of wear and tear in their bodies, and give me the younger guys behind them.
Yeah. Since I want to get to Will here, we can answer this Browns question a little bit later, but I do want to talk about Will's other question, who says Olave overpriced like London has been. And we'll get to the Browns question. I wanted to tie this in since we're talking Saints here.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think Olave. Yeah, I've always been a huge Chris Olave fan. I think this is the year I'm hopping off the bandwagon. It has nothing to do with talent. Has everything to do with Derek Carr. He gets a ton of targets, but they're just not quality targets. And there's a ceiling there that I'm just not willing to pay. I'm sorry. Yeah, his ceiling is capped, and I'm just not really willing to pay. Borderline close to wide receiver one price for a guy that I just don't see finishing as a wide receiver one. So yeah, I'm probably not paying for him. I do prefer Drake London. Obviously they're not that close in ADP, but I would rather take a chance on London, who I think, I'm not saying he will, but he has a way better chance of finishing as the wide receiver one than Olave does, in my opinion.
Steve?
Yeah, it's second round. I agree. I think Pete hit the nail on the head with the lack of upside with Derek Carr. Now, Derek Carr, he does have a tendency to fall in love with one guy and just pepper him with targets. So, maybe in the second year, and he did have 138 targets last year, and he still had 1,100 yards, just 5 touchdowns. But maybe that goes a little bit overboard. But you still have Rashid Shaheed, who I think he'll take a little bit of a step up. There's not much else outside of that, though. Jawan Johnson, I think, what did he just break his head? Some kind of foot surgery. So
yeah,
he's going to be out a little while. So, yeah, I mean, Olave is so freaking talented. Second round is just a little bit tough because of the point I think Pete makes is it's just Derek Carr is just going to do a lot of dumb shit, which includes dumping off freaking tippy toe, little feathery passes to Alvin Kamara left and right. So,
and how many times is Taysom Hill going to score?
Right, and Taysom Hill, right?
And be the quarterback randomly. Like I don't know.
Interesting thing on Taysom Hill. I was in the hospital last year with my mother, and the nurse was cousins with Taysom Hill, and she said actually his brother was even a better athlete than him. So I was pretty interested. But yeah, Taysom Hill is a big part of that offense too, and he'll continue to be, work his way in there. So yeah, I agree. I mean, I think third round's a little bit better for Olave.
I'll make this as simple and quick as possible. They are going back-to-back FFPC ADP right now.
Oh, they are. Okay.
Drake London, better offensive coordinator, better quarterback, top 5 offensive line, Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts. Give me that supporting cast, the quarterback, the OC. Give me the alpha tied to that unit over the alpha, because Chris Olave is very, very good. Tied to Derek Carr and the New Orleans Saints. We just trashed Alvin Kamara. They're trying to rebuild this football team. So, like, I'd rather, if I'm taking a shot at one of these receivers to pop this year, it's going to be Drake London, because I trust his OC and quarterback more. And we'd have to complicate that.
Yeah, maybe the Saints run a little bit more with Kendre, with Kubiak's son in there. So we'll see.